Hey, what is going on, everybody? Well, welcome to the channel. If you happen to be new, well, we are grateful that you have decided to check us out. And for everybody else, welcome back. What we're looking at here is this backyard pond. This was a raised garden bed that was in my yard when I purchased my house, and one day, well, we decided to turn it into a pond. And let's flash back to when we first put this pond together and take a quick look at the very first thing that ever swam in it.
What's on your pants right there? Did you get dirty? Like, you got your phone in your... Oh, hey, Brenton. Well, the fact that you just displaced about 15 cubic feet of water and it didn't bust out the sides is a good sign. Your mouth is so big, though, you probably drank about half of it.
Professional angler Brenton is attempting to illegally catch a 10-pound largemouth bass. And that went over like a turd in a punch bowl.
Just dried off.
Well, it gets really cold here in North Texas, and that results in us having to break this thing down to winterize it every single year, moving in all of the turtles and making sure that only cold water fish are left in the aquatic section. So today, we're going to be revitalizing this and bringing it back to life. So with that, let's get into this video today. So as I was raking these leaves, I spotted something, and it happens to be a rough earth snake. And what's cool about rough earth snakes are, first off, they're not venomous, and they're fossorial, which means that they live exclusively underground. You find them under leaves, logs, things of that nature. And one of the really cool parts about it is that it's actually viviparous, which means that it gives birth to live young, sometimes up to 10 babies at a time during the summer. They feed exclusively on earthworms, and they're really cool little snakes. So we're going to put this little guy somewhere to hold him until we get finished with this so we can reintroduce him back into his home. The first step to getting this set all back up is to get rid of all this leaf litter and yard debris on this terrestrial side. And now that it's all cleaned out, let's get out and pick up some plants for this terrestrial area. So we went ahead and picked up quite a few plants, starting with these Boston ferns, which are fantastic. They'll make great cover for the turtles, as well as some cypress mulch, a croton or croton, depending on how you want to pronounce it, a creeping guinea, and some basil. I wanted to make sure that I got some plants that are safe in case these turtles decide to munch. Now that we have these Boston ferns planted, it's time to go ahead and pour some of this mulch out and get this stuff stuck up behind there because, well, Turtle Stew is going to be reintroduced back into this enclosure, and Turtle Stew is our African side-neck turtle. She loves to burrow up under the substrate, and we want to make sure she has deep areas up under these plants, which is where she'll spend most of her time. And now to plant the last couple of plants. We have a croton or croton, some creeping guinea, as well as some basil. So let's get these planted. Well, now that this terrestrial area is done, we need to go ahead and wet this thing down, and what better water to use than the water from the aquatic section? Because in fact, we absolutely need to do a water change on this pond as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and water these plants with some of the water, and then we'll go ahead and drain the rest of it. Well, now that we have this water drained, it's time to fill it back up. Before we do, we need to treat it with some API stress coat. And now that this thing is filled back up, we need to reintroduce you to Turtle Stew.
Hey guys, my name's Turtle Stew, and if you haven't visited freshwaterscrub.com, make sure you do and use the code TURTLE for 10% off all your orders.
And look at that, old Turtle Stew is back in her enclosure once again for the first time this summer. Well, spring technically, because it's not quite summer yet. All the fish in here are looking good. I went in and did a huge water change on this thing today because, well, I wanted to get a lot of these tannins out from all the leaves and such that were left in here from the winter time. But everything in here is looking fantastic. All the goldfish are doing well, the shabunkins, the pond comets. See one of the shabunkins there, there's one of the pond comets. Look how big those rosy red minnows are. If you notice over here, we have on top of our filtration box, we did not want to obstruct the filtration, so we have placed a rock over the top of it to allow for our baby frogs to get up on it, as well as this piece of cork right here. This will allow them to get up and get out of the water. Looking over here at our terrestrial area, we got all kinds of plants. We have some basil, and I put basil in here. Well, number one is I love basil, and it is safe for turtles to eat. We have some mondo grass. This actually came back from last year, as well as a carotene. Back over there in the corner, we have a little creeping jenny. Now, creeping jenny is actually both an aquatic and terrestrial plant, like a lot of plants. So this we actually sell at freshwaterscrub.com, and you can go pick some of that up. And then we have some of these beautiful, massive ferns. And I will tell you that last year, Stu absolutely loved getting up underneath these ferns and burrowing down in the mud. We're gonna make sure we keep this area nice and wet. Oh, look at that. There's old Turtle Stew right there. She is just looking around, just figuring stuff out again. But we will make sure that we keep this area nice and wet for Turtle Stew, as well, as you saw, the baby little snake that's in here that will, you know, hopefully doesn't have a whole big family. So with that, guys, hopefully you went on to enjoy this video today and you have enjoyed watching us revitalize this backyard pond and terrestrial area today. We wanted to make it comfortable for Turtle Stew once again, as the temperature has started to get a lot warmer here in North Texas, and we do not expect any more freezing time, snow, sleet, none of that kind of stuff. So it is perfectly fine now for her to come back out here. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notification bell, as well as if you have not followed us on Instagram or Facebook, links to both are down below in the description of every video, as well as visit freshwaterscrub.com and use the code for 10% off all your orders. That includes merchandise. All right, guys, well, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys get back to it. Make sure you check us out on our next video that'll be coming up very soon, and hey, we will see you next time.